off to a cold start, but it doesn't look like rain right now.
Good morning, everyone. Hey, we're getting ready to hit the road here. And today and tomorrow it's going to be pretty cold. I think today the high is only supposed to be about 42 degrees. So we're breaking out our cold weather gear. We'll be riding in some pretty chilly weather the entire day. But hopefully we'll be able to bring you some really stunning scenery and more icebergs, I hope. We've been riding in wet and cold conditions. But the next 2 days is going to test our cold weather gear and resolve. It's time to break out the 3-finger mittens. Trust me, it wasn't enough. The fog hanging in the air is misty with water droplets, and on top of that, our eyeglasses and helmet shields are fogging over. This necessitated removing our eyeglasses and leaving the shield open just to be able to see. This made for a frozen face and a dismal ride. With cold and wet fingers encased in snowmobile mittens, pressing the record button became difficult. At times, I missed recording scenes simply because I was unable to get the camera started. Because we were on the Bonavista Peninsula, we had to backtrack towards the Trans-Canada Highway to get around. We hugged the western shoreline as long as the roads allowed us to. Eventually, we were forced to backtrack on already covered ground. This included a lovely ride through the Terra Nova National Park. It just doesn't get old. It's a beautiful area. But eventually, we turn off at Gambo and head towards Musgrave along the coast. The towns of Centerville, Wareham, and Trinity are relatively speaking newer settlements. These settlements started at the beginning of the 20th century when the area was used to log timber for the construction of shipbuilding. The peak population for Trinity was 700 people, but a forest fire in 1961 devastated the timber industry. This fire resulted in Trinity losing nearly half its population. To this day, the area is still sparsely populated. New West Valley was established in 1992 and incorporates 8 villages along the coast. The 3 namesakes are Newton, Wesleyville, and Valleyfield. The coastline here has more of a tundra feel because of its barren landscape. New West Valley lies on the Bonavista Bay. As you can see, Templeman has a shallow and rocky harbor. Only shallow draft boats can operate here. Templeman is a part of New West Valley. The Barber Island area is so recognized because of the Barber family. They ran a successful fishing, sealing, and merchant business in Newtown in the late 1800s. Today, tours of the Barber Living Heritage Village can be taken to learn more about the family and the area. Newtown has been given the moniker of the Venice of Newfoundland because of its canals between the islands. This was a very picturesque area, and it would be a shame not to stop if you were riding through. Deadman Bay Gut is located adjacent to Deadman's Bay Provincial Park. Despite its ominous name, the park boasts a sandy beach and campsites. By the way, a gut is a narrow body of water subject to strong tidal currents. Musgrave Harbor is our final destination for this day, but the video's got one more day on it, so stick with us here. Like always, we try to fuel up the night before so that in the morning we're ready to go. Once fueled up, we get to the hotel and get settled in. Boy, we had a great day's ride, even though it was really chilly outside. Boy, we put all the gear on today to stay warm, and it just got colder as we headed further north. Right now, we're staying at a hotel, Spindrift by the Sea Country Inn in Musgrave Harbor, Newfoundland. And even though I don't think I can get it to come out on the camera here, I'm going to try and show you exactly where it's at. But right outside our hotel window here is an iceberg. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little sliver of land that ends about right where my fingernail is at. And just past that is the iceberg.
Just all mine over here. With all the separate stuff.
Roy's over there picking his nose.
Raising my glasses.
I don't know, I still see stuff out there, but I don't know what I'm seeing. Those look smaller.
Well, after a great meal here in the hotel's restaurant, just absolutely delicious. We had turkey and mashed potatoes. It was pretty good. That's all for today on our video, and we'll see you tomorrow as we continue on around the peninsula.
Well, hi everybody, welcome back. It's the conclusion of our ride day 14, and as you can tell by the big picture on the island of Newfoundland, day 14, our destination was this great little fishing village called Musgrave Harbor. And you can see that in contrast to yesterday's stop in Bonavista, we're on another peninsula sticking out into the North Atlantic Ocean. And what an interesting ride day today, but just a little too cold. It's hard to believe it's mid-June in Newfoundland, but boy, apparently it's normally like this, where most locales would call this late winter or early spring at the best. So let me push you over to the detailed map and I'll show you exactly what we did today. We left Bonavista this morning, and rather than backtracking down the east side of the peninsula, we came down the west side of the peninsula, rejoined the only road to allow us to exit the peninsula, rejoined the Trans-Canada Highway that transits across east and west through Newfoundland, departed the road here and went up the east coast of this new peninsula. And I forget, I believe it's the Baie Verte Peninsula. I don't know. I may stand corrected. A lot of few small towns along the way. Lots of small fishing villages with little harbors and lots of fishing boats. But probably the most interesting thing, as you can see by my highlight on the map, is once we arrived at our accommodations here, which is literally right on the beach, looking out, we looked out and there are icebergs in the water, which apparently is a normal thing that happens at this time of the year in Newfoundland. A lot of the ice floats down from Greenland, comes down the Labrador coast and drifts by and eventually, of course, melts. So that was a fantastic end to a fantastic day. Now we're busy staying in the room, getting warm. So thanks. We'll talk to you after tomorrow's ride.
Well, on this rainy, drizzly, cold morning here, we're going to be hitting the road, and we're going to finish our trek of this peninsula with a stop in Twillingate, where apparently you can see all kinds of icebergs. So that's our goal today, and then we'll end up back in Grand Falls-Windsor for this evening. If I thought yesterday was cold and wet, this morning's ride was going to be the worst of the entire trip. By the time we got to Twillingate, we were soaked and frozen. Under warm and sunny skies, this ride would have been magnificent. But the cold and rain made the ride more about endurance and suffering. To get to Twillingate, we must cross several causeways and bridges. Twillingate is not only just a town, but an island as well. Its claim to fame is its location, because its location puts it in the path of drifting icebergs. Crossing the L.R. Curtis Causeway brings us onto New World Island. The island hosts the Dildo Run Provincial Park. Within the park are hiking trails and campsites if you wish to stay. Finally, we make it to South Twillingate Island and see baby icebergs. What a thrill to see icebergs after we endured miserable elements to get here. Aren't they just beautiful? Their bluish color is just amazing. Despite the icebergs already melting and the fog preventing us from seeing the gigantic icebergs offshore, it is still a thrill to see them. After a ride through town, we make a stop to warm up at a Robin's Donuts. We end up spending quite a bit of time there with hot drinks and talking to the locals. They think we're absolutely mental for being on motorcycles. Isn't that funny? Despite taking a long time to warm up, the ride quickly turned to misery. I'm guessing all of us just wished we could instantly be at the hotel. However, we still had to ride 150 kilometers. This ride would last almost 2 hours. Campbellton was the halfway point, but the last video my fingers could muster, I was just so cold. Here's Gord with the day's recap.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. Today was the conclusion of day 15, or ride day 15 rather. If you remember from yesterday, we stopped at an interesting little fishing village called Musgrave Harbor, stayed in a fantastic little accommodation right on the Atlantic Ocean. And today, unfortunately, another cold, wet ride all around. We transited along the north coast of the peninsula here, and eventually made our way even further north to a little town called Twillingate, and we were told that there was an excessive number of icebergs in the area, and sure enough, there were. However, the weather did beat us down a little bit. We didn't stick around for very long. We quickly turned around and came back down through the western edge of this peninsula, rejoined the Trans-Canada, and had a short day running back into Grand Falls-Windsor, Newfoundland, where we had stayed on day 11. That was the end of our day 11. Now we'll call it 15B because we went to Twillingate in the A part, the B part, 15B. So if you want to see a detailed but slightly messy view, here's Musgrave Harbor, and here's the track we took across the northern peninsula all the way up to Twillingate, pretty much at the end of the road, literally. There were a lot of icebergs packed into the bay here. We didn't see, because of the fog and rain, we didn't see much elsewhere. We did a 180, came back down through this area and rejoined the Trans-Canada Highway and ran into Grand Falls-Windsor for the night here, as you can see by the 15. Tomorrow we're going to continue off to the west, and we'll see what else we can find. So hope you're enjoying it. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Well, yesterday I didn't film an ending to the video. We were so busy trying to get our clothes dried out and ready to go for today, and we were just kind of exhausted. The weather was kind of brutal. The temperature got as low as 41 degrees, and it was rain, and it was really difficult riding conditions while trying to film, and so I did the best I could, but we did get the iceberg views that we wanted to. Boy, they're absolutely beautiful. I would highly recommend that ride to Twillingate. It is just an absolutely beautiful area, especially if you're there early enough to see the icebergs. Well, I hope you liked that video yesterday. If you did, please give it the big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.